You.
I'm fucking out here blowing your back out like we're on the Senate floor.
Dude, that's a wild shit, dude. I thought it was a girl a couple times until finally it was made specific that it was homosexual anal sex, and I was like, damn.
What is good? What is good? Welcome to a brand new episode of Drag the Lake. I'm one of your hosts, Andy Malfrino. With me, as always, the late great Pat, the Grateful Dead, George. Pat, how are you doing, you sack of fucking sexual appeal? Let me finish, you pussy.
If you don't have anything chambered, just let me be, for Christ's sake.
Dude, if I don't have anything, I always have something chambered for you, dude. Like I said, I'm always 2 seconds from fucking hitting back shots on the Senate floor with you. Damn, everyone's in the mix. Tonya, Foxtrot, 12 Roots. What is up? Thank you for fucking hopping in. Look what happens when I post ahead of time on these things.
Look at us trying with that whole consistency bullshit. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. Shout out Foxtrot in the chat. I will record an EP reaction. I've been a busy little bitch lately, dude.
Yeah, you've been busy little bee running all over the place.
Yeah, man. I've been having fun doing fucking stand up and telling these jokes and eating pussy and
what?
Yeah, but like
where?
On boys' butts, dude. I'm eating boy butt pussy.
Yeah, we were talking about it for a little bit right before the show, but that Senate thing, I seen the censored, picture still or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I didn't obviously know what you know me. I don't know what's going on ever, usually. And then I was like, man, I was like, what is that? I was like, it's anal sex, they say, but then they said specifically it was gay anal sex, and I was like, boy, that I I think that's a little too much. I saw a lot over the weekend. I saw Colby Covington making fun of Leon Edwards' dad for being in hell, for being murdered at 13. By the way, a father at 13 too. Crazy.
Wait,
but
Leon Edwards' dad died at 13 and Colby Covington. Because I saw him say he was in hell. I didn't realize he died at 13.
I don't know. Maybe 13 maybe was an exaggeration by somebody that I overheard, but I like
still it's got to be Pat, I'll say this. Any age that ends in teen is too young.
to die in gang violence as a father. Like, you know what I mean? Like, boy, oh boy. But he said something about that and then also the anal sex on Senate floor. I gotta tell you, that upsets me just as much as the Capitol thing. You know what I mean? It ultimately doesn't affect me, but I'm also like, hey, cut it out.
Hey, guys, I'm sure you love doing that. I personally not a fan.
That is not your desk. That is not, in both cases, that is not your desk. Get out of here.
That's so funny. He spray waters on a bunch of gay dudes. Like, hey, get out of here.
Come on, skip.
That was funny too, because people always, well, the gay sex on the Senate floor is a big it's a big showcase on how everyone's on a team, because you saw a bunch of people, like you saw a bunch of conservatives sharing it, being like, see, Democrats are fucking gay. And they're all gay degenerates, you fucking gays.
There was justification for both sides somehow. They were just
but then all the people on the left were like, oh, look at these fucking Republicans just sharing gay porn on the timeline. You're like, hold on. Wait. You can't be doing that in the Senate.
It's like
it's like, because dude, that's what all the people who act all progressive and like open-minded and shit like that, the second they can use like, yo, you're gay and get no pussy, they fucking go for it right away. And it's like, hey man, I'm no fan of government. I don't think that building should exist for them to have gay sex in it. But if we're gonna have the building, we need a sense of order in it, and you can't be butt fucking on the Senate floor.
There's certain things where you're especially with the thing that, like, the narrative of like, see, all Democrats are gay, of kind of thing of like, you can't give them a layup. You know what I'm saying? So like this reminds me of another recent MMA news. I don't know if you're familiar with the Ian Gary story.
Yeah, we talked about it. Remember on the
Right.
bye week,
Oh, right, on the bye week. Sorry about that. So just an update. He ended up pulling out of his fight because he had
pulling out of his wife's husband.
he he had pneumonia. Yeah, or what I think it's known as it's in Latin cuck sickness.
Cuckitis.
Cuckitis. He had something about with his cuck, but it's like the same idea of like you cannot give them a layup. You can't just give them all of the trash talk shit immediately. You know what I mean? Like the dad and health thing. Colby like took that. He didn't like. It wasn't like he wasn't sitting there going like, yeah, me dad's in hell and whatever. Me dad's dead. Oh, he's not. He's British. He's not Australian.
Mm-hmm.
But like Ian Gary's like, yeah, my fucking wife's husband lives in the house with us. Who gives a fuck? It's like
who fucking cares?
We're gonna crawl all over you. This is over. Like he's got a fight booked for January. We're not gonna forget. We're all sitting on our questions from last time. We're all waiting.
Did you see Sean Strickland getting offended with Sean O'Malley? I thought that was the funniest shit in the world. Because I'm not gonna sit here and be like, I enjoy watching Sean Strickland exist. He's a very entertaining person. But then apparently, I forget what Sean Strickland said to him, and then
he mentioned because Sugar Sean O'Malley actually recently also admitted to having an open relationship with his girlfriend. Yeah. And because of that, he shared a story where she was like, I want to have sex with one of your friends. And he was like, hey, man, you can totally fuck my wife. It's totally okay. And that's what he brought up. And then Sean O'Malley was like, sorry, go ahead.
What did he? Oh, I can't remember the quote. He's like, hey, try not to get fucked by your dad.
He's like, yeah, my friend fucked my wife, but at least my dad didn't fuck me or something like that. And I was like, hey, whoa. What's going on here?
But I saw Sean Strickland being on Twitter being like, that's too far. And I'm like, really?
Yeah. No,
Sean, aren't you
say too far?
It's like, Sean, aren't you in interviews going to like Asian reporters being like, hey, what's up, Ching Chong?
Yeah, literally, he said that. He called Israel Adesanya Chinaman, and he said that he fucked dogs. So like,
but he's like, whoa,
fuck around.
When it's about me, that's too far.
Also, his dad was it was almost like an American History X story. Like he's if Ed Norton, you know, like he's like the Ed Norton in American History X. Like he was in that shit, he was that, and then he was out of it. So
like Nazism made him great at basketball.
He's defending a pedophile racist. He's just go, hey, don't speak ill of my dad, pal.
Well, no, I was reading a bunch of his tweets. A bunch of his tweets were more like, hey man, you can't be making jokes like that. And everyone was like, Sean, you say the craziest shit to everyone all the time.
That's your thing.
Yeah, like dude, he was literally on a podcast with who was it? It was one of the Nelk boys. Yeah. And he's literally talking to this little dude on the Nelk podcast, and he's like, yeah, I'm strong. I could just fuck your wife in front of you. And it's like, dude, calm down. It's like, calm the fuck. Like, yeah, you're big and strong, but like, I mean, if we're gonna get down to it, like, I could buy a gun, Sean. Like, at the end of the day, I'm not saying I'm gonna use. This isn't a threat. I want to make it very clear. This isn't a threat, but I'm saying in a hypothetical where you're trying to fuck my wife, I can buy a gun.
So in the past year, I think in the past year, Sean Strickland has pulled a gun on a home invader. He has, I think, thrown that, you know, that tactical, the expert guy, the guy, self-defense guy. He's kind of a portly. I think he's from Michigan. Oh, Detroit.
Yeah, he's a black dude, right?
Yeah.
He has all the videos people make fun of.
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. He like threw that guy through a glass case. Like he like damaged something in a store.
I saw
actually
that. Yeah.
Trying to like beat him in a fight.
Yeah, I saw that.
Like there's multiple like things like this. So for him to say this has gone too, like, he specifically does this shit with other people, and it's crazy that like a fucking this weirdo like Sugar Sean O'Malley, who's not even in your division, and the guy who actually is this fucking weird guy that's like, I'm the only white African in the world or whatever, like Dricus Duplessis, but taking the DDP nickname, I don't like that. I think there's going to be some blowback now that WWE and UFC merged. I don't think you can use DDP anymore.
Well, he's like, DDP technically works with AEW, so they might not have a problem. I don't know though. That's a good point though, because I think they still own like because I think he's like, um, he probably goes by a different name.
Drickus
I wonder.
Duplessis.
I wonder if WWE owns DDP. But
It's-
anyway, I
But yeah,
getting
so yeah, we're getting sidetracked.
sidetracked.
You're right. You're right. There. But either way, you can't. So in that case, like there is certain things that I feel like fighters ultimately it comes down to they're cage fighting champions. You know what I mean? Like they're fighting each other bare, essentially bare knuckle,
Well,
4 ounces of glove in between their knuckles and their face. Like
yeah,
so it's like there I feel like they should be comfortable sharing their experiences, doing podcasts and all that other bullshit. But like there's certain shit that I'm like, I feel like you're right. Like ultimately it comes down to where like everybody, even the other cage fighters are like, whoa, hey, pull it back a little bit. That's not
yeah. I think
you don't have to say that.
Well, I think some of the yeah, it's funny. I'm usually super pro. I'm usually super for saying the wild shit, but I even the video of Covington being like your dad's in hell. I was even like, all right, dude. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. It's a fight.
Especially knowing he was murdered, like when he was a
Yeah.
baby. Like that's fucked up, dude.
Yeah, it's like Jesus, dude. Like
Also,
don't
it's gonna fuel him. It's gonna
and
fuel him.
who's he fighting? Leon Edwards?
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
like Leon Edwards is a chill dude, right? I don't remember seeing
Oh,
anything where he's like a fucking dick. Because here's the thing,
yeah, he's
it's
not
like
disrespectful at all. No,
like I
not
was
at
saying with like Sean Strickland being in like being in interviews with Asian reporters, being like, "Ching Chong, you eat cats, right?" It's like
right,
if Sean Strickland gets shit on, it's not as like it's funnier, but like because he's shitting on everyone else. So if he gets shit on, it's funny. But
right.
like Leon Edwards, I don't think he's causing any problems. So it's like, what the fuck he do to you, dude?
Dude, like in that same this is the funniest thing is in that same press conference before he started going after Sugar Sean O'Malley, but like he also mentioned to DDP Drickus Duplessis, the guy who's going to be fighting in January. He's now this is I'm just quoting Sean Strickland here. He said, "Why don't you go fuck your coach, faggot?" Like
Yeah, it's like
same press conference, same press. Like that's what I'm saying. Is like you're calling people hard F's, and you're you know what I mean. Like he's essentially going everywhere but the hard R. Like literally, he does He says like, "You're a fucking pedophile. You're fucking your girlfriend, and he's fucking your girlfriend. You fuck dogs, and you're Chinaman, ching chong Chinaman." Like, dude. And then he's like, and the people are like, "Yeah, why don't you got molested by your dad, you pussy?" Like it's kind of like, wait, whoa, but also like it's. I don't know.
yeah,
Like
that's the thing. That's
considering
why
the target, I feel like in the target, like if Colby Covington said the dad thing about Sean Strickland's dad, I would be like, yeah, take that.
But that's why context is so important. It's just
Right,
like
right.
it's like Sean, you're entertaining as shit, but like, bro, you hit everyone with fucking mortar rounds. You know what I mean? It's not little
Yeah.
it's not little
You go
snipe.
scorched earth on everything.
It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
dude, you drone bomb everyone, and then fucking Sean O'Malley hits you with a fucking sawed-off shotgun blast, and you're like, whoa, what are you
Ow!
doing? Yeah, it's like, dog, you're lobbing bombs everywhere. You can't get mad if someone fucking gets a little bit out of hand on you.
Right. Yeah, I think it's ultimately there ultimately we I think are both advocates for free speech. You can say whatever you want, and you got to deal with, and these guys are going to deal with the consequences. They're fighting. It's planned. It's on the books. They have a date that they're gonna go into a cage and it's gonna get locked, and they're gonna fight each other with the, you know what I mean? Like so I
Yeah.
feel like ultimately they should be able to say whatever they want, but then when it's like after it's needlessly disrespectful. If like Leon Edwards is like, yeah, he's trash, he's just a loudmouth, I'm gonna beat him up, blah blah blah, I'm better than him. It's also boring, but like I think that's the thing is Colby Covington thinks he's doing a good job by being shocking, whereas like Sean Strickland is just naturally super duper autistic and like not, you know what I'm saying? Like I think Colby Covington's thing is like a conscious thing. He's just like, maybe I'll sell. Like this is really boring. We're not gonna get any pay-per-view views. I'm gonna say your dad's a fucking
Yeah, I mean, I will say this. I
It's like,
will say this. I will say this about like Colby Covington. Like I don't think he's proven to not be that great of a person. But
right.
like take emotion out of it from a pure business standpoint, he successfully makes you want to see him get beat the fuck up every time. So from a business standpoint, the dude is very successful.
And he's a extremely talented fighter. I actually really enjoy watching him fight.
Yeah, his wrestling's like
cannot do well.
amazing. His wrestling's like amazing, right?
like he is like he doesn't have a ton of finish power, like as far as like his hands, but his hands set up his wrestling and his grappling, which he can totally finish. So it's like he is always like perfect. He's got great cardio. He's got great like you said, grappling and everything like that.
Does he
And
have
he
any
can sell fights.
knockouts?
I don't think so. Like that's what I was saying. Is like I
Yeah, he
don't
has
think
like
his
mainly
finisher.
submissions.
Yeah. So, but he's an incredible grappler. But he even got out grappled. So like he's taken a lot of time off after he got beat up by Masvidal. By the way, talking shit about his kids. He talks shit about Masvidal's kids, and that's what
Yeah.
he got attacked for
Oh
outside of the
wait, he
fucking
got
club
beat. He lost last
by
night.
somebody. I don't know. By yeah. Oh yeah.
Leon
Oh,
Edwards.
no, he didn't.
No. What? Wait. Am I looking
No,
at the wrong thing?
maybe. Yeah,
Wait.
he
When does?
definitely won.
Who are we talking about? Who are you talking about?
Colby Covington got attacked. He was out of the he had not fought for over or for about a year or so because he got attacked by oh, so you're talking about
He
Leon
fought
Edwards.
last night.
Yeah, Colby Covington got attacked by somebody. I don't allegedly it was Jorge Masvidal, let me just say that, outside of a steakhouse in Miami,
No,
and
it
he
was
got
definitely Jorge, right? Didn't they have video of it?
I mean, whoever it was wearing a mask, and I don't feel comfortable saying anything about Jorge Masvidal allegedly, but
Oh
he's not
no.
going to watch this. But like, if for some reason, if this,
Isn't Masvidal on record as a goon? Like I'm bigging up Masvidal.
the only reason actually I believe Masvidal did get caught was because after Colby Covington got attacked, he said, that's what happens. I guess you get attacked by when you say stupid shit, and it's like, are you taking credit for this crime? And he was like, yes. Ah, damn it. And then I think
Yeah,
because he
yeah.
dropped the
Tonya,
charges,
yeah.
what?
Tonya saying like didn't I
Oh,
it was
so,
like it was like
so
public news that he fucking attacked him.
yes, I was joking but he still was not pleading guilty to attacking him. But
Dude, I'll lie under oath for Masvidal. Don't get it twisted.
there were charges pressed and there were going to go to court, but I think because he dropped the charges on Masvidal is why he was afforded his first fight back, was given a title shot at number 3.
Yeah.
It's a thing where there were charges for a while, but then he ended up dropping them before they actually did anything with them. But it's essentially it's all but yes 100% that but Masvidal's like, no, I wouldn't do something like that. That's so
Well,
reckless.
that's why Masvidal rules. It's like the classic clip where it's like, why'd
Yeah.
you keep punching him? And he's like, the ref didn't call the fight yet. He's like, my job is to fight, and he didn't.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, that's why he's a fucking. That's why
But
he's. And then when he was on Rogan the one time, where remember when he was in the interview, and then he like jumped out to fight that guy, and they asked him like, what'd you say to the cops? And he's like, oh, me no speak English. He's like, me no, and I don't know why I did an Asian accent. I'm not good at him. But I'm a Masvidal. Me no speak English.
give me a chimichanga.
Oh.
No, I think and this is a funny thing too, because this is how split I am on this, right? Is the fact that like when Masvidal I say sucker punched, but I'm not a street fella, you know what I mean? But when he went up with his hands behind his back and was talking, and him and Leon were talking shit, they were talking shit to each other. And then he punched him twice, and he gave him a 3-piece and a soda or whatever, which I think I only counted 2. But he got pulled off him and all that shit. I was kind of disgusted by that. So this is a weird thing that that the MMA community goes back and forth with a lot of times, and it's something that relates to last night too, because Sean Strickland ended up attacking Dricus Duplessis in the crowd at the UFC 96 event. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I saw that. Yeah.
They got into a huge fight. And so when people do crazy, reckless things, so like when Khabib jumped out of the cage to fight Dylan Danis, it was like I just watched a clip about it on a countdown on like MMA On Point about like the times where UFC didn't even follow their own rules. So like they like, if you attack somebody outside of the cage, like that's it. It's game over. Like you probably will never fight for the organization again, unless you're
That's the on paper rules, though.
Right, and there's exceptions will be made. So Masvidal attacking Leon Edwards, I was like, hey, what the fuck? Leon Edwards was happy to talk shit, happy to sell the fight, give him a shove, give him something else, but like he wasn't expecting you to punch. And that's the thing is I feel like it is certain times where it's just my perspective, but a lot of times, like Connor
Yeah.
throwing a dolly through the window, everybody's like, Connor's such a reckless asshole. He's such a piece of shit. And it's like, I thought you liked this behavior. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's hard to tell when do you like erratic behavior by
Well,
people?
that's the reality of the situation with like all the MMA shit is they try to act like they're better than wrestling, but it's
Yeah,
like the
it's the same.
wrestling, the WWE shit you guys do is what sells fights.
Right.
So you're not better. And also, I think the reality of the situation is like UFC. I think they're like, you guys don't do that,
Right.
but then secretly they're like, fucking yes. You know, I think it's like with the Connor thing
Dude,
that
they
definitely with
teased the
the
Strickland
well
footage.
with the Connor thing, that definitely was like that definitely probably went a little too far because I think he got like glass in people's eyes and
Yeah,
shit like that. But I think at the end of the day, here's the reality of the situation. These guys are fucking fighters. That's why, like, they're fucking fighters. They're savages. They're insane people. Like,
he,
you have to be a little fucking insane to want to go into the ring to go into the octagon and have someone who's just as strong as you punch you in the fucking face for 25 minutes or whatever the fuck. So I
yeah.
think the reality of the situation, why there should be some leeway, like I saw Dana White talking about it where he was like when Strickland, what was the dude's name? Dreykus?
Drake is Duplessis, yeah.
Yeah, when Strickland was punching Dreykus, I saw a clip of Dana White. Dana White wasn't like being like, Sean, why'd you do that? He was like, who the fuck sat them near each other? And because I think that's the reality of the situation
Yeah.
is you have a bunch of dudes who are strong as fuck, they're rowdy motherfuckers, and you have to have a little leeway if they're gonna get a little bit rowdy from time to time. Also, like obviously you need a certain there needs to be a limit, like you can't be getting glass in people's eyes, but
Right.
if there's a dust
Yeah,
up
yeah.
here and there, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, because
Yeah.
everybody you can take, but that's the thing is these guys are fighting in a month, and this thing was brought up was the fact that yes, you're selling the fight, but now if you fucking break your hand or if you fall down, you hurt yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like if you because you're on cement. This is my problem with like I've told you many times about like those street fight videos. It's not just the poor technique that bothers me, but it's also the fact that it's like so dangerous. It's so dangerous for no reason. Just if you want to fight each other, go find a safe place to fight each other and fight. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing with when other people start jumping in. Also, everybody feels really comfortable throwing out some soft ends and hard R's when they're fucking fighting nowadays. Every fight, one person is, yeah, what up? And it's like you're dropping ends for and
Interesting.
it's two white children fighting in a suburban neighborhood and it's just this weird thing of like
Oh, I've seen some of those. Remember, it was the white kid yelling at his Asian teacher.
yeah and it's like wait what
I think that comes from because a lot of people. This might be a good way to segue into actually talking about music, but no, I like the MMA talk, and I think
yeah
the boys like it too. So
we kept it tight
fuck it.
and
We
and
got
there
a
are
lot of other content on this channel. If you guys have missed it, I've been doing Dance Gavin Dance full album recaps. Those have been people have been really enjoying those. I was surprised. But yeah, people and I've been trying to figure out the next one I want to do. I've got a few up in the air. I was thinking Every Time I Die, but then I'm like, no, me and Pat have to do that one together.
we could do that. I'd be up for that.
Yeah, I think an Every Time I Die discography would be fucking sick.
Yeah.
We might have to bank those because I feel like those will take forever. So it'll be a while till we may not be able to record every weekend with those.
Mhm.
But Brock was saying Mugshot goes hard. Yes, everyone needs to listen to fucking Mugshot so fucking often. They're my fucking boys right now. But no, I was also thinking about I might do Brand New's discography, and I also might do Bring Me the Horizons discography because I think they're both. Those two groups have a substantial shift from start to finish. Like Bring Me the Horizon, they start as like a deathcore band, and then they were funny because they started out deathcore and then they segued into like goth girl pop music, and now they're kind of like slowly bringing back the metalcore that got a lot of dudes like me into them.
Yeah.
And
I'm sorry, go ahead.
no. What were you gonna say?
I would think Norma Jean would be, especially that shift. I think Norma Jean would be another good discography because they really shift a lot from Bless the Martyr, Kill the Child, or whatever the fuck it is.
That'd be a good one to do. That'd be a good one to do together because you're substantially more emotionally invested in them than me. And
Love it.
I would love to listen to your perspective on that. That's the fun thing about doing those full album reactions is like it's not just me listening to the album and I'm going, oh boy howdy, this is fun, and then next song. Like I was watching it, the last Dance Gavin Dance album I talked about, the album's like 40 minutes long and the video ends up being like an hour 10. So
Yeah.
like you get like 30 minutes of me talking and breaking it down and stuff like that. But I was also thinking about doing Brand New just because they start out as like power pop emo band and then they transition into like the greatest indie rock band of all time. And I just think that's always a interesting shift. What's Tony saying? Under Oath would be good to see the shifts in the band. Yeah.
What was the other ones that you were saying? You were saying that you were going to do. Oh, Every Time I Die. Yeah, I'm writing them down just in case.
Well, we'll do that one together.
Yeah.
I think we should record those. We'll bank them and then we can start releasing them at a later date and shit. But sorry, I'm a little.
We're both a little under the weather. Sorry.
No, I'm not under the weather. I'm just losing my voice because I was sick. I was sick earlier in the week. I basically stopped being sick around Wednesday, but then I have all these shows, so I've just been talking a bunch, smoking cigarettes and drinking beer, and it's just not. Dude, it was fucking brutal. I did a set last night. Actually, no, set last night. No, Actually, no, set last night was rough. It was only 10 minutes, and I'd literally have to stop, and I'd just be like, ah! And then I'd turn to everyone and be like, I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. But they were super chill. And then I did 20 minutes the night before, and that was fucking brutal. But all I have to do later today is I have to go do Sydney Gant's podcast, and my voice is actually feeling not too bad. I feel like I sound cool and rugged now. So I'm pretty excited for the rest of this day.
Sounds gravelly. Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. Do you got anything? I got a few things here and there music-wise, but nothing I'm like overly passionate about, except for one thing. I texted you about this the other night, but have you been...
Oh, yeah.
You want to talk about that?
I mean, we don't like to be negative on the show.
We don't like to be. Here's the thing: we don't like to be negative. We don't like. Yeah, but I really want to talk about this just because it's like whenever and this I want if the band that we're about to talk about ends up seeing this, I want them to know this comes from like a place of love.
Right.
And because it's like I've been listening to them forever and they're like still pumping out music. And it's like it really brings up the question, like, when's it time to just fucking like either hang it up or it sounds so negative, but like it's like either hang it up or just become like a greatest hits, like become a nostalgic. So what we're talking about, so we can actually dig into this, is Sum 41 just dropped new music. And it's not that it's just bad. It's that it's like so phoned in bullshit that it's like offensive.
It is formulaically bad. It's like they designed it to be our least favorite things. It's literally everything, like every way you could just fake your way through a pop punk song. Legitimately, the second song, there's two songs. Right? Isn't there only two?
Yeah.
And it's legitimately the second song is just I thought it was a cover of that fucking Machine Gun Kelly song.
Yeah.
I said that to you. I was like, what the fuck is this?
So I was so offended by the first one. I like barely got into the second one, so I didn't have enough time to like analyze it. And then when you texted me saying it was like basically a Machine Gun Kelly song, I go, that's what it fucking is.
It's like you took his It's like, dude, I understand reinventing yourself, but I think this is why bands take those hiatus, like hiatus,
yeah,
hiatus, hiatus,
hiatus.
They just take a break, but it's because like I'm certain, dude, you cannot tell me. I'm sorry, I'm throwing shit now. You can't tell me that they're in the studio going like, yeah, fuck yeah, dude. You know what I mean? Like that's such a listening to this and go like, oh my god, we did it. You know what I'm saying? Like this sounds like so.
That's, wait, can I interrupt real quick, because that is such a great point. Because like I remember one of the most egregious examples back in the day was Less Than Jake. They had their one album In With the Out Crowd. Because I'll give Less Than Jake props. Now they are They are real bad. Actually, to a comment Tonye just said, he goes, I can't take Sum 41 seriously with the singer holding on to the same style as he had in
Yeah,
2001.
yeah.
That is
Chuck
that
Whiskey.
is the lead singer of Less Than Jake. It's like, dog, you
Yeah.
are 75. You don't have to keep spiking your hair.
And
It's
the
fine, dude.
denim cutoff vest and like all the other shit of like, are you comfortable? It's like we were
But
talking
wait,
about the any of those other bands like the Strokes or the
yeah.
Hives or any of that. Like
But
it's like
but
you're making a weird choice.
But my point with like in with the out crowd is like Less Than Jake's a great band. They're great. They're like a punk band with horns. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Everyone always call like they're one of those ska bands. They're a punk band with horns over the fucking choruses and shit. And
And they
when
respect
they
metal.
when
I
they
like that
came
they
out
respect
with
metal.
yeah. And when they came out with in with the out crowd, it was like like the reason it was offensive, it was like, oh, you guys are clearly going for something. But at the same time, if that was just like how they sounded, you'd be like, this is an okay like pop album or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
could tell that Less Than Jake was in the studio going, we're trying to get a little more mainstream, but we're gonna try to like do that in a good way. With fucking, are you cats fucking each other up?
Yeah. Hold on, I gotta throw something at him. Yeah.
But like with with this Sum 41 song, it's like, dude, there's no chance any of you were in the studio being like, this fucking rips. Because
Right.
I'll give Sum 41 credit. They're like, they've put out good shit throughout the years. Like, there's definitely dips here and there. Like, I've always joked, like, Underclass Hero, just complete dog shit.
Yeah.
Screaming Bloody Murder wasn't the best, but they had good shit on it. 13 Voices was really good. Order in Decline, I didn't listen to it that much, but it did have some good shit on it. So it's like,
Wait, are
it's
those
not like,
all albums of theirs?
yeah,
Damn.
no, I just made up a bunch of names.
Well, no, you're reading it off, and I was like, holy shit. I was like, do they really have that many albums? That's crazy. Sorry. That just
No, but the thing is, it's like, it's not like Sum 41's been pumping out bullshit music.
Right.
They've had a few stinkers of songs on those albums, but as a whole, all their albums have been like not too bad. Like if you've been into Sum 41 since day one, all their albums haven't been that bad. And then you hear these two songs and you're like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
Also, I think we said this, I feel like I've said this before about other bands, but it's like, guys, you're Sum 41 in the year 2024. Or
Right.
2020. Sorry, this album comes out 2024. You're Sum 41 in the modern age. You're not going to have this big fucking resurgence. So just put out some shit you want to
Try
make.
something new. Try something you want to do. You have an audience. You have a following. You can do stuff. Like Chuck was a little bit different than their other shit. Like each one of their shit gets a little bit different from each one. And that's the thing. Look, dude, if they had put out a fucking techno album, if they put out a fucking trap rap album or some shit like that, you know what I'm saying? Like if they just turned into fucking like a future cover band, I don't give a shit, dude. Like it's something different, something
trap
new
album
that
would
they're
suck.
it would suck. It would suck, but this also sucks. That's what I'm saying. But I don't believe, like, I cannot believe that they are so oblivious that they're sitting in the studio, fucking rocking out to this demo and going like, I can't wait to release this. And I think this is the point I was making earlier was I think bands get to this point because a lot of times you'll hear them go like, hey, we're gonna go back in the studio and we'll see you next time for the tour or something like that. And then like in a couple months they go like, hey, we're gonna take a hiatus. I think because they get into the studio and they go like, what do you got? Nothing. I don't know. What do you got?
Yeah.
I don't know. You know what I'm saying? And then they probably go like, why don't we just take a break for a little bit? Or let's do a cover album. Or let's do a fucking something else to keep you a little bit like you can do something easy and fun, but you don't have to like jeopardize your
Well, can I say this real quick? You know what I think it is with a band like Sum 41 is they're not like, I'm trying to think of an example of a band who, like, I don't know, this is just the first one to pop into my head. Like Billie Eilish is the biggest act. She's at a current point where if she took a break for 5-10 years, whenever she comes back with a new album, that shit's gonna pop off.
Yeah.
Sum 41's not like, they're not at that place where
right.
If they go on a hiatus for like 5-10 years, And they come back and they're like, Sum 41's back with a new album. I love them, but like most people are gonna go, all right, cool, whatever. So there is probably an element of in their head of like
Yeah.
they don't want to go away for too long
But
because
this is
then they don't want to go away for too long because they don't want to like lose. They don't want people to forget about them, and then when they
yeah.
come back, people kind of like shrug their shoulders. But also at the same time, it's like if you don't got anything, like
Right.
you don't need to do an album. Now I will say
Right.
one more thing. One more thing on that. I don't know. So I was just watching this video about Frank Ocean that was actually super interesting where I don't know if you listen to Frank Ocean, but he had an album, he had like a whatever it was, 2-3 album deal with Def Jam, and his last album he put out was called Blonde, and he didn't want to put that out on Def Jam because then he wouldn't own it, they'd get all the money. So he kind of like tricked Def Jam, and he's got like, oh, I got this new album, I'm gonna do a whole art piece with it, yada yada yada. And then he essentially put out a fucking like Andre 3000 Sleep Sounds type thing while he posted. It was actually like, I'm like whatever about Frank Ocean. I don't get I don't get like bricked up for him like everyone else does. But to be able to like to quote Kanye West, whoop diddy scoop a fucking record label like that, it's actually kind of hilarious and impressive. But he literally posted this fucking long video of him building a staircase while just like fucking background music played forever. And then he was like, "That's my album." And then like, he had to be let out of his deal, and then he actually posted his next real album, Blonde, a lot later. So there is an element of it, like maybe they have a record deal and they're trying to get out of it, but I still, it's like, guys,
Good
where
point.
you?
No, that's
But
a
it's
good
like,
point. Yeah.
but it's also like at the same time, it's like I'm trying to like look at both sides of it, and it's like, guys, like, where are you going? You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, you're not going anywhere. Like, take some time and wait till you actually give a shit about what you're putting out. The only
Yeah.
excuse for this is if the record label is like, we need a fucking album right
Yeah.
now. That's like the
Yeah.
only excuse in my book for this dog shit.
But the problem is it's so oblivious. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's not even something.
We should kind of break down the songs a little bit just for context. So, I mean,
There's nothing to break down. You've heard these songs. You literally.
but I'm saying specifically, like,
Yeah.
so the second song doesn't really need to be broken down. Just
Right.
go listen to Machine Gun Kelly. That's the second song,
That's
and then the first song. The thing that like really got me is like I always joke like with Blink-182 where like when they put out that first song Edging and it hits you with the zoom ba-dum-dum,
Yeah.
ba-da-da-da-boom, and you're like
Yeah.
whenever a band starts doing that when they never do that ever, you're just
Yeah.
like, oh, they're phoning it in,
Yeah.
and like there's another one where they were like I forget exactly how it went, but they were hitting like a 4 on the floor with a bunch of fucking effects over the vocals and the guitar and stuff like that, and it just sounded like it sounded like a slightly punk rock version of some like butt rock, like modern rock butt rock song, and then they just went into a fast punk part that I was like, this sounds like a fucking deconstructed version of a Sum 41 song. But honestly, though, it just sounded like a fast punk song. That was the worst part of it. I was like,
Didn't sound like them.
that was the worst part. It's not even that these songs were bad. They just didn't sound like Sum 41 songs.
It sounded like it's like when you have a sound alike in like a reality or show, something like that, where you're like, is that Teenage Wasteland, or is that, oh no, that's just a song that they hired a band to create a song that reminds you of the song Teenage Wasteland. So like there's specific ways that people can do that. This definitely feels like
Bob O'Reilly, just to be technical.
What is it?
The song's actually called Bob O'Reilly.
What did I say?
Teenage Wasteland. That's a common mistake because they say Teenage Wasteland 1,000 times in that song.
You know what I was thinking, actually? I thought I was referring to the song Teenage Dirtbag.
Oh, okay.
That's my bad in every way. But yes, you're right.
Well,
So
no, that's my favorite. If you want to get a boomer to spaz or just a rock fan to spaz, call Bob O'Reilly Teenage Wasteland. And
yeah,
then
you know
look in,
Teenage Wasteland.
and then it's like, it's not so what it's called. And then you look in their face and you go, I don't give a shit.
I can't believe they had, or do this, go like, I cannot believe that the Who, they were able to afford the Who to write their opening song for CSI. Like
Yeah.
that's crazy that they hired them specifically to write that song for that show,
And
and that's
then if the
it works
and
great with the show when he takes his sunglasses off and they go yeah,
and
like
then
I can't believe they thought of that.
And then if people keep trying to argue with you, you go, "You're the guitarist is probably a pedophile, so shut the fuck up."
Yeah, you really want to keep tugging at this thread? You really want to
Yeah,
do that? You're gonna lose
yeah,
a lot of sweater, bud.
yeah. There's a bunch of child porn on my computer for a documentary I've never put out. Yeah,
What's the song called? And they're like Teenage Wasteland. You're like,
it's called. Yeah. Your guitarist was on Epstein Island. It's called Teenage Wasteland. But
he's a
actually, to be
researcher,
fair, I
right?
don't know if he was on Epstein Island. He probably wanted to be though.
Right, like he has probably he's the one probably with all the documents.
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, it's the funniest story ever. The guitarist of the Who, they found like a bunch of child porn on his computer, and
Right.
he said he was like, "No,
Yeah.
what
He
Tony
didn't
said,
he didn't
what
say it
Tony
was
said
his.
he said he didn't deny." Because here's the thing: if I can
Yeah.
go,
Right.
if I can be CIA Andy for a second,
Yeah, this
CIA
is not
Andy.
alleged, by the way. This is what he said.
But no, people have I forget if they've actually proven it, but there is a theory that like the CIA will put child porn on people, like hack their computers. Like if they have a target they want to like take down to like
Yeah.
besmirch their name, they will put child porn on their computer. I feel like I should stop saying the actual words. They'll put CP on their computer and then it
Cherry Pepsi? Why would
yeah,
they put cherry Pepsi on their computer?
who doesn't like cherry Pepsi?
Me. I like cherry Coke.
Fair enough. But no, they'll put cherry Pepsi on their computer, and that's so fucking funny.
I want to call CP cherry Pepsi from now on. Cheese pizza, yeah, they put cheese pizza all over there. That's what Pizzagate was, right? They put cheese pizza all over their
hot dogs and
computers.
pizza, yeah, dude,
Hot dogs and pizza.
Fucking Obama needs 60,000 hot dogs. Sure.
Okay.
Okay. He's that hungry? What? Drone bombing get you hungry? Anyway, don't forget 41 minutes. I want to fucking edit out the that word when I repost it on the panties page. But anyway, fuck, what was I saying? Oh yeah, Pete Towns or not Pete Townsend, the guitarist had a bunch of cherry Pepsi on his computer,
Yeah.
and he didn't deny it because that's the thing the CIA has done where they pump cherry Pepsi on people's computers to besmirch their name. He was like, no, that's my cherry Pepsi, but I'm using it to research a documentary to combat human trafficking. And then I don't think the documentary came out.
I'm simply doing a taste test, my friend. This cherry Pepsi is strictly for science. I'm not enjoying it. I'm spitting it back out. This is this is blind taste test. I got this cherry Pepsi on my computer strictly for scientific reasons. That's it. And that stood up in court.
I was just swirling it around in my mouth and spitting it back out.
And they're like, can you do that thing where you do the windmill thing with the guitar? And he's like, yeah, I can still do that. And they're like, you're free to go.
Dude, that's so fun. Oh, yeah.
And they're like, here's your CP, friend. Don't forget that.
Cherry Pepsi. That changes the Coke Pepsi challenge so much.
Yeah, it's a different blind taste test. Again, that was part of the research that was being done on Epstein Island. They were doing simple blind taste tests.
But I don't know how we got there. But either way, Sum 41, stop drinking cherry Pepsi.
Yeah, you guys got to stop with the children's Pepsi.
But yeah, it just it goes back to like my wrestling reference where it's like bands need to be more. It's I don't know. Maybe it's like I feel like the perspective's hard just because in a band at that point, you're trying to make money. It's getting harder now and all this and that. So it's a whole different thing. But I guess from a fan perspective, when you look at the overall legacy and then you see stuff like this, it's like, I don't know. It's just annoying, especially too, like, I don't know, being a fan of pop punk. Now it is like, satisfying seeing all these like rappers essentially adopt emo and pop punk stuff and stuff. It's like it's weirdly validating in a way with like all the times you got called fucking dumb or gay or whatever for like in pop punk and emo shit, and you're like, well, cool ass rappers are stealing it, so you're actually dumb.
Right.
But also at the same time, it's like I don't know. It's just like it's like annoying when you spent your whole life defending the fact that you like pop punk, and then they put out bullshit like this, and you're like, well, what the fuck was all that for then, dude? If this is what you're gonna do to me.
But also, you like how my biggest complaint a lot of times about who's that fucking really popular chick led metal band, Dream
Spirit
something.
box.
Spirit Box, yeah, yeah. Like
Yeah,
Spirit Box not being the best representation of metal, of like these guys have like are established as, and this was my point. What I was trying to say earlier was, when you get into the studio and you write these two songs, let's say you spent fucking studio time making these two songs. Okay, very much regrettable. The first song, Rise Up, it has no identity of Sum 41. It doesn't remind me of them. It doesn't sound like them. It doesn't feel like them. Like no part of it. And no matter what, in all of the other like Sum 41 releases, I feel like there was still their identity in it. Whether I liked it or not,
dude. And
it was still them. It was still them
one,
making the thing.
and I'll say this as a dude who's been keeping up with some 41
Yeah,
releases,
yeah,
like they did, like that
yeah.
13 Voices album. I was like, yo, I think they're back. Like that shit was good.
Right. But they have this weird thing where like I said, when you write the song, I trust, and that's why I'm saying, that's why I'm not like letting them off the hook or I'm being nice or something like that. I think they know better. I'm not only mad, but I'm also disappointed. Like it's both of those things of like, you guys know better. So like if you get these two songs written and then you sit
That's
there, unless you go like, hey, this will be a good, like you said, a good opportunity for us to break into the mainstream by sounding exactly like Machine Gun Kelly. Unless that was their strategy, which also I do not support, and
it
I
will
think is
not
okay.
work.
It
Dude,
won't work.
there's been so many bands now that like try to do every year. There's bands that try to do that. Like the most egregious example was like A Day to Remember, and it's like it might work if you're a newer band, but like it was
Yeah,
going with that
you're too
little
late to make that shift. Yeah,
the Little Lotus guy. He's
yeah,
like he's kind of still newish, but I feel like he's another example, and it's like. Dude, you're too late into this shit to just put out a random pop album and become mainstream. It just
right.
doesn't like fucking the Devil Wears Prada is kind of trying to do it. Like all
Yeah.
these bands try to do it, and it's like, just stop. Just like I'm trying to think. I'm trying
Start
to
a new
think.
band. Start a different band and do it that way, because you're not going to be able to shift it over. You're not going to be able to say like, well, all these people liked this thing,
Well, because you're putting
and you're
out
going to
this
go like,
music, that none of your long term fans are gonna like. And
right.
now you're trying to get a bunch of new fans to make you a big fucking pop star. And the only way to do that is to get the only way to do that realistically is to get young kids and mainly young girls into your shit.
Right.
And you're all in your late 30s. They're not like it,
They're probably older than that.
well, I'm just saying,
Yeah,
generally speaking, like a
you're
day to,
old dudes.
like
Yeah,
a day to remember. You're all in your late 30s, early 40s. What all these bands that try to do this shit, so you're not like because literally, if you look, that's why Taylor Swift's so popular. Billie Eilish, like I don't know 100% what it is, but whatever young girls like is the most popular shit, is the most money making shit, and dudes in their late 30s and early 40s is never ever what young girls are into. That's why you see all these boy bands that look gender ambiguous and shit.
yeah,
Like all those K-pop bands, the fucking One Direction when they were popular. You notice that like all these bands that get popular have this like it's either a girl, dude, it's either a boy that has like an ambiguous gender or
yeah,
it's a girl that makes like normal looking girls feel good about themselves.
yeah. Like, well,
Those are the two
well, Young,
equations.
Young, the girl I shared that music video with you last time. She like, it's one of those things of like, oh, she's so sexy and she's like so relatable, and it's like, she's talented. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like it's what like you said, you're right, but like it's the confidence thing. But
Well,
if you're
Billie Eilish and like Taylor Swift are two perfect examples because like Billie Eilish was always like she was always bigger than the average pop star, but she's
yeah,
also got huge honkers and is hot.
big old
And
tits, yeah.
Taylor Swift's the same way. She's she's cute.
Her tits are tiny. She got tiny tits, a
All
little
right.
hungry
Well,
tits.
the scale isn't specifically big honkers, Pat. You're
Also,
too hot.
no ass on her.
All
Black
right.
eyes, like a doll's eyes.
But what I'm trying to say is like they're both very pretty, but they also have aspects to them. Shut up. I hate this shit where people are like Taylor Swift's so mid. She's
I don't
adorable.
think she's attractive at all. I think she's a goofy looking girl. Like she's incredibly talented.
That's actually fucking crazy. That's an opinion you chose to have. That's fucking crazy.
I'm telling you, I've seen her with my eyes, man. I
She's
see her. I
cute.
look at. She's okay.
She's not a fucking 10 out of 10, but people are always being like she's so fucking mid. She's cute.
She's very. I think that's the best way. I don't use that term a lot. By any means, I don't feel comfortable with it a lot of times. But she's mid.
Fair enough.
She is I think the definition of mid.
Fair enough.
Look wise.
I'm not gonna argue this. You're choosing to have that opinion. But like they're both.
My point was though is the fact that like you're not fooling anybody. You're like you said, you're not going to do this, but you can still put out a piece of you. You can still be you and put out like what are everyone in the band pick songs that you want to cover and like do a cover album where it's like you can add like again as long as you don't do it like Weezer, you can have fun with it and make them your own and write do a song like and then if there is a simplistic pop punk song that you want to cover, you can do that. And it's like, at least then, because this is like, if I can put it frankly, like to put it the best way I can.
Put it patly, dude. Who the fuck is Frank?
These, all right, I'm going to put it patly then. All right. These don't sound
that needs to be a new segment. Time for putting it patly.
Squeed up. Boop bop beep boop. No, I think that they have a these aren't their songs. Like they don't sound like they wrote them. That doesn't sound like it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't at all sound like Sum 41. So there's no identity of theirs. There's no fingerprint of their like stamp of approval. You know what I'm saying? There's no
fingerprint. Can I say this? Can I say this point off of what you just said?
Yeah.
So I've been making the joke on a lot of ever since that Slipknot album came out.
Right.
I've been making the joke on a lot of these albums that just sound bland. Mm-hmm. And I've been making the joke. I go, they sound like they typed into an AI music generator, give me a Slipknot song. That was my problem with the last album. And it's happened a couple times with certain bands where you're like, it's not bad, but it just has no heart into it. And now I'm getting to a point where I go, are they literally doing that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You might be right. Yeah.
Because I've seen like, now I'll say this. I don't 100% know the process. I don't know if it's literally you type into a fucking program and it gives you a song. Yeah. But I heard I heard a song where it's Kanye West doing a country song. You know what I mean? Like I've heard these songs where they're just AI generated. And like, bro, you can AI generated these super complex fucking images and you can AI generate videos. Like you could AI generate a fucking song. And who's to say like these bands aren't just being like, I don't know what to fucking do. Let's get help from the AI shit.
Right. But that's what I'm saying is like that's my issue is if they can't act like you can't sit there and act like you don't know what to do as professional artists for this long. For most of my lifetime, at least, you know what I mean? Like I have known about Sum 41 a lot of times for a lot of time or a long time of my life. What metal cover album?
Going off what you said, dude. Exactly, actually, because
metal cover album?
Yeah, Tony, Sum 41 Metallica medley from the MTV. That shit was nuts. That actually got me into Metallica. Right. Because I was into Sum 41. They were covering Metallica real. Dude, that actually would be fucking sick if Sum 41 did a metal album, a cover album of metal songs.
Yeah,
that was a weird word to get tripped up on.
You okay?
I had a really hard time with that. That was crazy.
Well, I think
I've been drinking.
Even if Sum 41 covered the Black Album by Metallica, like you could even something as simplistic as that, like do concept. I love concept albums. That's a time, but this isn't a concept album. This is just a run of the mill fucking 2 songs I've heard a million fucking times, and it has no heart. There's no soul, and absolutely could be AI generated. I don't know how. And then I don't know why artists would want to do that. And if they are getting to a point where they're like, I don't know what to do, really, you don't even think about doing a cover album or writing again concept something like think about a big swing that you want to take that's in a new direction or something like that. You want
Yeah.
to make a new genre or something like that. I've been seeing a lot of times online lately of people calling undistorted metalcore or math rock a new genre of like emo math or something like that, or like, and it's like,
It's
no,
not a new
idiots.
genre.
Yeah, but if they took a swing towards that, if they tried a genre, a new genre or something like I was saying earlier, a rap album, it would suck. It would probably be terrible, but I wouldn't be sitting here going like, why'd you guys fucking do that, you idiots? It'd be like, oh, they tried something, not for me, but hey, good for
Well,
them
I
for
think
trying something new and trying something different. Like, this is not new, this is not different, and I don't believe that they even had anything to do with it. It's so crazy that they would put their stamp of approval. And if they did have something to do with it, if they all sat down and wrote this and were like, and like I said, sitting in the studio going like, yeah, this fucking like this part right here where we switch the chord to the next chord. Whoa! It's like you're not doing anything. It's you're not inspired. You have to realize that. You have to be either they, I don't think Sum 41's the kind of people that are just going to have a bunch of yes men around them. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think they have that kind of entourage. No disrespect or anything like that, but like you said, they're not as big as they have been in the past. So I'm sure there's not a bunch of people going like, "This is sick, dude. You should put this out." So
yeah, but
what's the
also
excuse?
too,
Why did you do this?
but
Unless it
also
was
too, but also too, they're a band that like people are so fucking hyped for. So like, you can like you're not gonna have that big Sum 41 resurgence. Like you're
Yeah.
just not. That's not to say you're a bad band, but it's just you're not gonna have that. So like you might as well just ride this out, being like, what would make our fans happy?
Do
And
the thing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
no, it's Tonye with the comment about the metal album because like I didn't even think about that, but when he said that, it was like a fucking light went off. I was like, that's literally the most perfect thing they could fucking do. And
Yeah.
I think like it reminds me of when I used to work for this company called Uline, and it was like warehouse work, and I sort of got distracted from how bad the job, like from how annoying and bad the job was, from like how well they paid us. They paid us really well at that,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so the job sucks, but then you come home and you're able to pay all your bills, and you're like, well, I guess it doesn't suck that much. And then when I got out of that job and I got to another job, and I started noticing like, dude, like I remember at my new job, I needed like a longer lunch break because I had a dentist appointment, and I was like freaking out because I forgot to schedule that, and I go up to my boss, and my boss is just like, oh yeah, dude, no problem. At my last job, that would have been a whole fucking thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like I would have gotten written up and all this shit. And it's like once you get some distance from like when you're in the middle of a shitty thing and you're just doing it day after day, you lose sight of how shitty it actually is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then once you get some distance from it, you get a better perspective of like, oh yeah, that was a bad thing we were doing. And it's like maybe some bands need to do that where, maybe it's not like, maybe you need to like mentally remove yourself from the idea of just like doing the Sum 41 thing,
Right.
and then having a broader perspective on like what would be the best decision for Sum 41 to do, because this clearly isn't.
If you can't take a hiatus like that, I think that's what you're explaining. That's when most bands would take a hiatus and just take a little break and just think about shit and do a side project. Don't do side project. Take some time off. Like as comics, a lot of times we talk about this. Where like if you're just only doing just comedy and nothing else, you're going to alienate yourself because all your jokes are going to be about travel. They're all going to be about
Yeah, you have to be
You
a
ever notice when you're
person.
in a nightclub, like no, not you know what I mean. Like not a lot of people can relate to it because it's usually their night out. So like you have to live life. You have to gain experiences. You have to have that. So like I'm sure, but you can also do those full album tours, like where we're gonna play for it's does this look infected 23rd anniversary or whatever. Like
Yeah.
we're gonna do that. We're gonna go on tour with what's another huge like a big band at that like River Phoenix or Phoenix TX or whatever. You know what I mean? Like another is that a big
That was
band
your
from back
pick for a big band?
trying to think of,
Phoenix
I
TX.
was gonna say Bowling for Soup, but I was like, oh, that's probably bigger. I should have said Bowling for Soup. But like you know what I mean? Like make it one
Bowling
of
for
those.
Soup could tour on that one album.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Girl,
It's like
all the bad boys want.
everybody's doing that album that you like or something like that. Like do that if you can't take a hiatus, like you financially cannot take time off from the band, maybe unless it's a financial or a contractual agreement with a record company and you have to have something. Again, do something else. Do something creative in a better way
Just
than
schedule
this.
that Phoenix TX tour, dude. I'm sorry. I don't know why that made me
I
laugh.
know. No. You're absolutely no. That's why I'm just taking it because you're absolutely right. That's like I'm like, come on, Pat, pull a cool pop punk band from the early 2000s.
So
You know,
41.
remember
Just
Phoenix?
call.
Oh, sorry, no, they're Phoenix TX now. They
That's
changed.
how popular they are. You
I knew them.
forgot. You
They
knew
kept
them as
changing
a
their name.
more. You knew them as a more famous entity.
Yeah, I knew them as a better name. What about
Bro,
Jughead's Revenge? You ever heard of them?
bro, just call up Phoenix TX and Mest and do
Get,
that.
get mess. Get Jughead's Revenge. Get fucking Phoenix TX. Just get.
hit
Go ahead.
up
Get
hit up Lagwagon and Millencolin. And
get Chicks
actually
Dig It. Yeah, Melancholy.
people would be hyped for Lagwagon and Millencolin.
Actually, Melancholy got pretty big. They actually did, I think, get pretty popular because there was at one point one of my sisters-in-law, one of Dom's sisters, mentioned that she had a Melancholy album, but it was their like brand new one, and she liked that, and I was like,
Well,
oh, they kind of did get, I get maybe not mainstream,
Wait,
but
who you talking about? Millencolin?
I call them Melancholy, but is it Melancholy?
Yeah, Millencolin.
Okay, that's one of those things where like I've loved them my whole life. They've been one of my go-tos early on. That was one of my go-tos. That was probably a top 5 for Patty. If I'm speaking Patley, that was top 5 for a while.
Well, they were one of those bands that
Oh
like
wow,
a lot of people
Phoenix TX is actually still pretty good. I just saw them saw them at WWW
when we were young.
Got it. This year. Nice. Yeah. Sorry.
But yeah, okay. That's I was about to bring up Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Mm.
There were a lot of bands that benefited from Tony Hawk Pro Skater, but I think like Millencolin might have been one of the top bands because what's the fucking song?
No Cigar.
No Cigar. That song fucking rips.
It's a perfect song. That is a good example of a perfect song. I would love to do a Melancholy album review too. That they legitimately they have such a fun, weird catalog. And I think it was later on in life that I realized that they were like foreigners. They're not American. And
excuse me?
Yeah, they ain't from here.
God
Their colors do run.
They're Swedish.
Yeah. But I was also like, and then I could hear it in his voice, and I was like, oh yeah, totally. But I saw them live on one of the Punkorama tours. That's how I got to know them, was a lot of the Punkorama compilations. And then, but they were a band that I actually ended up buying the full album of theirs, and I was like, holy shit. But yeah, No Cigars, great. Bullion is a great song, another one of theirs that's incredible. I would love to see Melancholy live again.
Monkey Boogie, I remember that one.
Remember Strike? That's like a ska song. They had like fucking Strike. It's all about bowling.
I didn't get crazy deep into Millencolin, but they had some
No Cigar.
hits.
Hell yeah, dude.
Fox is a good song.
Yeah.
Like,
So
they had a later one that was really fucking good.
Scoop them up. Sum 41, Phoenix TX.
Oh yeah, they had a song.
I know they're available.
They had a song called Ray that was really good.
Yeah.
What was the Millencolin today?
They were early on. Like I thought of them as like I thought, and I don't know if I put it to this terms, but this is the best way I probably viewed them. As a kid, I thought for sure that they were going to be like the next Green Day. Like I felt like they were like hit machines. They legitimately every album that they put out had like one or two like hits.
Something happened with something happened with like rock and roll and shit. I don't know what exactly it was because like, well, it's kind of interesting because like rock was the big thing for a while. Like I remember watching TRL in middle school and high school, and like Yellow Card would get on number one, and you'd see a bunch of shit like that. Like you'd have the pop stuff with like Britney Spears and Backstreet Boys and shit, and like J-Lo and Mariah Carey. But you'd also, you know, like if a Yellow Card type band would come out, like they would get in the top 10. And then it hit a certain point where like rap took over. But now it's really interesting because I've been watching, we don't talk a lot about rap, but I'm a huge hip hop fan. So I'll watch a lot of these videos on YouTube breaking down hip hop news and stuff like that. And hip hop's been kind of floundering a little bit because hip hop's actually dipping in popularity. They're substantially because
So
they used to be like the juggernaut of the music marketplace, and now I think you see it with like country. Well, country's always been the biggest, but
yeah.
it's
But now
like
now just country is just fucking R&B or hip hop. Like that's the thing is if you're saying there's a hip hop dip, I think that the country music stations are picking up that because they're just doing like old weird like R&B or like weird like you know what I'm saying?
maybe
Like it's
I
it's like
but
popular, but it's like it's very similar.
I will say this though, because like country essentially, because I remember hearing some country songs like a while ago when dubstep and dance music and stuff was popular, and you'd listen to these country songs and you're like, this is a house song with a fiddle on it. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So I think country like a minor asterisk to what like you're not wrong, but like a minor asterisk to what you're saying is like country essentially adapts to what they'll be like, what's popular? All right, let me sing with a twang, talk about beer in my truck, and we'll play a fucking violin over this and some
Yeah.
shit.
Let me just sing about days off. And you're like, yeah,
Yeah.
dude, fuck yeah, you're just like me.
but
You like barbecuing too? Holy fuck, I love this song, man.
but no, I think it's interesting because I think with the what's am I using this word properly with the advent of streaming and shit like that? I've heard a bunch of people say that in this context, and
I always thought
I don't know if I'm fully saying that right.
I
But
thought Advent was that calendar. You know what I'm saying? With the little candies in it, shit like that, like around Christmas time. So
I
I don't
love
know.
I love being your friend.
But
Um,
I'm just saying, I'm on your side. I don't know if that's right or not, but it sounds right. I'll take it.
yeah, but the whole I think the whole advent calendar of the streaming situation is like dude, you rule. Can I tell you that you fucking rule?
Buddy, you rule. I'm feeling a lot better now.
But no, I think with streaming taking over, it's turning like
Oh,
cuz like you can what am I trying to say? You can with how streaming's taking over, you
yeah,
can be into there's no sounds aren't created based off of your area and shit like that. Sounds are more created off cuz you can listen to fucking everything.
yeah,
So you can have a band from one part of the world that sounds like a completely other part of the world. And I think also too, we're just like looking at if you look at the global landscape, like you're just gonna have more like whatever the fuck Bad Bunny is. Like Bad
yeah,
Bunny's like
yeah, 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 yeah. He's like
Bad Bunny
reggaeton. He's like hip hop. He's fucking rap.
ba-
He's fucking yeah, yeah, yeah.
dude, ever since wrestling, and then he had this one album cover where it was just him and his boys all rocking the hardest denim with cowboy hats. I was like, Bad Bunny rules. I love that bisexual son of a
He's bisexual.
bitch. He's bisexual as shit.
Good for him. That's really cool. And he's a wrestler. That's really good.
Yeah, but no, it's just I think with the way that music's being consumed, and then apparently I gotta dig deeper into it because I never take like the base level analysis of shit. I try to see like what's the broader picture on shit, but from what it seems like, hip hop's getting severely affected by like TikTok and shit
Yeah,
because you see like the way hip hop is, it's super easy to adapt it to TikTok and have something go viral and shit with that, and it's like it's because here's the thing: people are like saying it's affecting hip hop, and I go, no, it's affecting mainstream hip hop because the
yeah,
hip hop I listen to, like, I just listened to the new Alchemist album. He fucking rules. I just listened to I'm trying to remember this dude Boldy James is like an underground like the music is really good. You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like Run the Jewels put out music in the hip hop ages. That shit's fucking amazing. It's like what
Right.
people don't realize is like no, it's affecting the mainstream hip hop and yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting. I forget exactly how we got on this, but it's just that I was talking about um yeah, just how hard rock fell off and stuff like
Yeah,
that. And
yeah,
that's
yeah,
what
yeah.
kind of gets me. Like I think they're I don't know if I'm just too locked into the world, but like I feel like there's something special happening with hardcore that we're gonna see something big. Like, cause Knock Loose getting big the way they are is kind of crazy to me, and I
Yeah.
feel like we're gonna see something special with like hardcore in the next 5 years. But generally speaking, when it comes to rock music, it's just kind of like it just ain't there, dude.
It's getting to a point where I think with like with the Advent calendar. of like BTS and a lot of that Korean shit. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the a lot of the exports and stuff like that becoming popular even in like America and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it's like it kind of feels like, and this is maybe me just a little pipe dream speaking patly, but we may be headed towards a world where there isn't a one music that dominates everything. There is like there may be one week there may be a popular metal song that everybody fucks with, because that's the thing is like it's really cool to see that that the that pits and like in like you know, raging in the pits and all the little dance moves we do and all that stuff aren't getting as poo-pooed on anymore. People are like fucking with it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I when I see like people understanding like, oh yeah, that's because that's the thing is every culture has their silly dance that makes them feel good. And
Yeah.
it's one of those things that like it's if you realize that like that's just not for you, that's one of those things, but you can still respect the emotion and the energy of the art. Like that's the thing is that shit bleeds through. Jesus Piece I feel like is a band that does that, and Knock Loose are two bands that it is relatable, and you don't have to love the genre. Like you don't have to, like you
Yeah,
can
you just
see
have to
them
be
performing it and you can totally go like, wow, that looks like a fucking black, that makes me want to go and run off the stage and jump into a crowd
well. I'm
like
glad you
anybody
brought that. I'm
can
glad
do.
you brought that up. It's because why I've been like beatdowns becoming my favorite genre, because I think the reason, and for beatdown, it's basically the hardcore that's like way more. The way I observe it is, it's like the hardcore that's way more oriented to the live performance. So
Yeah,
they're way, when they write the music, they're more thinking about what's gonna make the audience go hype as shit.
right.
So in that process, like this is why Kubla Khan's getting so popular. Like I think we were talking about this. I forget if I mentioned this on the last podcast or we were just talking about it at the show. But I think Kubla Khan's the new Every Time I Die, where not in
Yeah,
sound specifically, but they're the new hardcore band that dudes like cream themselves over. Where you're
right,
like they love the band because the band rules and the dudes in the band are sick. You
right,
know, that was always the thing where it was like you'd like Every Time I Die because Keith made you a little gay, and then you wanted to look like Andy Williams. Like that's
right. Yeah,
why.
yeah, yeah.
And then you're like, I wish I could draw like Jordan, and
Yeah. I wish I was as talented as you guys and
and who, yeah,
cool and like laid back and so down to earth and stuff.
yeah,
You guys are
exactly.
so cool.
And then you watch Kubla Khan, you're like, man, I wish I was so fucking chill like Matt. He's
It
so
was so
cool.
funny when you did that Santa thing in the phone and everything.
Oh,
That
dude,
was so cool.
I could never think of that. You were so much cooler for thinking of that. I could never think of that. But
And
I
I
think
mean,
that's
even allegedly, Lemaire is a fan. Even I mean, but I wouldn't believe it. Can't name more than one song. I mean, he can't
yeah.
name one, but
Yeah,
either way, he
I
says
would
he's a fan.
say when someone says name a song and then you pull up the songs on Spotify to name them,
And they
I would
wouldn't have
argue
to be told about when the band was in town.
I would I didn't bring that up. I didn't bring that up on panties. I was like, if you're such a fucking fan, how'd you not know they were there?
Literally, Spotify tells me every time the Bouncing Souls are here. I'm like, I do follow them, but I'm like, I don't need to know every time they're going to be in the area. I
Like
like the Bouncing Souls a lot. I love them, but I'm like, also like, I don't need to know when they're going to be in Baltimore. I'm not driving to Baltimore.
I'm a huge fan. Andy, make sure you tell me when my favorite band's in town.
Why didn't you tell me that my absolute favorite band that I don't know the names of the members or the? But either way, you're right.
What's your
It's
favorite song?
a great show.
Bitch. Kind of how it goes, but okay.
Yeah, I think that's the one you already named though.
Oh, but what I was wait, let me get back to the point. but let's stop making fun of fucking retarded Lemaire. I love
I
him
wasn't
to death.
making fun of anybody. I don't know what you're talking about. I wasn't talking about
I
anybody.
love Lemaire. I love Lemaire. No, I gotta be careful. Fucking those pussies get mad when I make fun of them on other podcasts.
Oh yeah, you're right. Oh, this is technically another podcast. This is technically
Yeah.
a network and everything, but you know,
Oh, by the way, I think they're getting jealous of our relationship. We
I
should
like that.
definitely, yeah, it's really funny. I was like, oh my God, you guys act so fucking cool. Like, you don't
Yeah.
give a fuck. And then when I start doing other podcasts, you're like, what are you doing over there? What are you doing other podcasts?
I like that music. Why didn't you tell me that show was happening?
Oh, you went with Pat? You went with Pat?
We didn't get a good picture though. Hey, you know, but anyway, I'm not talking about anybody specific. And I will let him know. I told him from now on, I'll let him know every time.
Yeah.
That
But no. Oh,
is-
so the point I'm trying to make is I think why these more beatdown oriented bands are are what the
Trend,
fuck am I
yeah,
trying to
trending.
say?
Trending's right.
Or
That's just right.
they're Jesus
Trending
fucking
up.
Christ. But no, they're like people are sort of identifying with them and they're having a impact and react and people are having a big reaction to them is because it goes beyond just liking the music. The
Mhm.
way that cuz they write music to have people dance to it essentially.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, it's why when you could, you know, cuz I thought of this when you brought up all the Spanish music. You could have this Spanish music you never listen to ever, but you like let's be real. I joke reggaeton does kind of suck ass, but if you have a song with like a reggaeton, like reggaeton specifically where it's all those like air horns and the electronic music, but
Yeah,
like that rhythm of like boop ba doop bop, like if you're like say you're at a fucking festival and you
right,
hear that it's going to get into you and you're
right.
like you may not know how to dance, but you're going to have fun. And it's like that's the same thing that happens with beatdown music is you hear it and it brings just because it's written to get you to move, it
Yeah,
ends up moving you.
it literally is. It gives you the physical those types of music, whether it be beatdown music or reggaeton. I think are those are two perfect examples of like they are music genres that you can listen to that you do not have to tell your body how to react. It will handle it. It will do
Yes.
everything. It'll do everything that you need it to do. As soon as you hear that boom, banana, sting, you it's like one of those things where like it looks like you organized a flash mob, but everybody's gonna fucking just like bang, and like they get it,
Yeah.
you know, like it's one of those things where like it's just a great feeling. And like when art like moves you emotionally, it's great, but when it can physically move you, and again, those are two that are like undeniable. You cannot help but move when you hear like, and you will move in the appropriate way because it's just it just
That's my
physically actually has that reaction to you. Yeah,
and
that's a great example.
that coincides with like my favorite type of art because I've been thinking about this a lot because like I've been listening to a lot more rap and I've been listening to a lot of Kendrick Lamar lately and I really like Kendrick, but I'm like Killer Mike is still my favorite rapper
Yeah,
because he writes very smart raps, but I never feel like it's going over my head. Kendrick will write these raps that just sound fun, and then you watch some video of some like hardcore rap fan breaking it
yeah,
down because he's been locked into Kendrick his entire career. And then they break it down and you look at that and you go, oh, that's a crazy line. But
yeah,
also, I would have never known that's what it meant without watching this guy's video.
yeah. Two of my
Killer
favorite. Oh,
Killer
sorry.
Mike, sorry, last thing on this. Killer Mike writes his raps in a way where you don't need to know Drake's a similar way. You need to know the whole fucking backstory to get some of his lyrics. Killer
Right.
Mike just writes lyrics in that moment. You go, damn, that's a good fucking line. And it coincides with it's why I like both of them, but it's why I like this shit better is a rapper like Killer Mike or a band like Kubla Khan or Knocked Loose is you don't have to sit there and be like, let me really analyze this. It's like
Yeah,
it just comes at like they just take it out of you, and you
yeah,
just like you're reacting to it. You're not sitting there figuring it out.
yeah. I think that's the thing. That's why two of my favorite rappers. You may judge me on this. I don't know. That's okay. I love Ludacris and I love Busta Rhymes, and both for different like the same idea
Yeah,
of
they're
like.
amazing.
But that's what I'm saying is like they're a little older. I didn't know like
Well,
it's not.
I'll say
They're
this
not
about Luke.
silly. They're not funny references. They're very like Buster Rhymes has that thing where he has the incredible lyricist in him, but also he's somebody that is utilizing his voice as an instrument. So like
Yeah,
when you have that, and then you also have something like Ludacris where he can be silly, but also like have very clever rhymes or runs or whatever it is. Like that's those are the things that like it maybe it's simplistic, maybe it's just I don't know. Like I don't know where they stand on the grand scale of like legitimacy, but you're right, they both rule completely, but it's
yeah.
also it's I don't necessarily it's not they're not necessarily references that are going over my head, but they're also things that are like they're not too lofty. I don't know how to put it. I don't want to say like they don't have substance because they obviously do, but it's also like it's they have the ability to go
Well,
over.
that's the hardest like part of analyzing any type of art where it's inherent in people. Like you see, it's the most obvious with jazz. So let's talk about jazz because it's the most obvious with jazz, where there's this thing inherent in people where if it's complex and confusing, they have a tendency to lean into being like, well, it must be better. And it's like, that's not always my. Now, if that's what you like, have fun. But like,
Yeah,
my analysis of something being good is like, how am I feeling in that moment? Now,
right.
like a great example, you ever see the movie Hereditary?
Yes, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So that movie, when you watch it the first time, it's fucking great. It's gonna bring big emotions out of you, and I'm not gonna spoil it, but if you know, you know.
yeah.
Because even that movie's been out forever, but it's still one I wouldn't want to spoil for someone. But
It's a
like,
big a monkey with a knife on cocaine.
but like Hereditary, the first time you see it, you may not 100% know what the fuck's going on, but it's gonna pull something out of you, and you're gonna enjoy it.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
then after you're done and you go watch those fucking YouTube videos where they're like, let me explain the ending of Hereditary.
Here's what they meant by that.
Yeah, it's like, this is what this meant. So it's like, let me explain Hereditary. And you watch those and they let you in on this whole other subtext that's going on during the movie. And now you can enjoy it on a new level. But if you never had that subtext, you'd still love the movie.
Yeah, it's
But there's what?
that just reminds me. I did the same idea. I did the same thing with that movie Mother with Jennifer Lawrence, and I watched the movie and I fucking hated it. And then I went online and I went to look at the description and they explained all the parts to it and everything. And then I hated it all over again. It gave me two completely new reasons. But it was also like one of those things of like, okay, you need to convey that better
Yeah.
because that wasn't clear. And also, it kind of sucks anyway. So
But
like,
but
so
I
like the
think
whole thing was like really bad for me. But you're right.
yeah,
Yeah,
but I think that's like a good way, in my opinion, I think that's a good way to analyze art. Because actually, to bring up another movie by that same guy was Midsummer. I remember when I first saw Midsummer, I was like, this looks cool, but I don't know what the fuck's happening.
you're like emphasis on mid. Am I right, guys?
But yeah, when I first watched it, I was like, like his visuals are always really cool. And I was
Right.
like, this looks cool, but I don't know what the fuck's happening. So I didn't really care that much about Midsummer. And then when I watched breakdown videos of it, I was like, oh, that makes more sense. Like
Yeah.
that makes more sense, and it actually made me appreciate the movie more. But I will say this, because now that people could call me fucking dumb, but I think
I
I
do
think
all the time. I do it
I
every
think
day.
exactly, and it's why I cut myself.
I wake up out of a cold sweat and I go, and he's dumb.
But like from my point of view, that's why I think Hereditary is a better movie than Midsummer, because I think when it comes to
Yeah.
art, you
Yeah,
need to the base level of it needs to be entertaining, and then the deeper analysis also needs to be entertaining, because
exactly.
if you don't have that base level entertainment factor, then you're just kind of creating pretentious horse shit, and you're creating like a cool kids club that's just cringy and annoying, and I fucking hate it.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, it's and that's the thing is, I hate when art has to be explained for me to like it. It's the same way I felt all the time, and we talked about this a little bit when we discussed Tool and Meshuggah. But there's a thing with like every time somebody has told me to go see Tool live, they're like, you got to go see him, and you got to be fucked up. It's gonna be amazing. And it's like, well, then I don't want to like I want to be able to enjoy them sober, and I want to be able to enjoy them the same way of like. So if you're telling me right now you got to go to that show and you got to get fucked up, I'm already out because now that's too much work. I should be able to just buy a ticket and then be taken away. Like that's the thing.
Yeah.
Is you go in and you watch the show. When I watched fuck, what was that? What did I just see recently? Where were we just
Was it
at?
your
Oh,
dick?
Galactic Empire. Oh, shut up. I saw it. I see that right after I say you're dumb. I go, and he's dumb. Oh, thank God. It's still there.
There it is.
Because every night I have a nightmare. Every day I have a nightmare that you're smart.
I'm smart and you
no
don't have a
penis.
dick.
And he's dumb. Okay, good.
I'm glad you said that thing, by the way, about getting fucked up, because you're a fan of getting
Yeah.
fucked up. Like, you throughout the day run from those feelings. Like, you love getting fucked up. So for you, but no, I respect that for
I want to
you.
be told that I have to get fucked up. I want to get fucked up on my own volition. I don't want to have to. I don't want it to be a requirement. By the way, Pat, if you cram like 5 or 6 beers into your head right before this show, you're gonna love it. That's gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna love anything you show me after 5 or 6 beers. Like it's one of those things of like,
Most things fucking rule after 5 or 6 beers.
right? If I was at a puzzle convention, I'd be like, what the fuck is that? 12,000 pieces? What?
Oh,
That's not even a
oh,
lot to you guys, is it?
oh, that's too
Oh,
many. That's too many pieces, and you don't have that many colors to just.
it's like one color. Oh,
How do you
it's
even
like,
figure it out?
yeah, it's one of those things of it's like anything's going to be amazing if I'm fucked up on hallucinogen or you know what I'm saying. So it can't be like Galactic Empire was a great show because it was a cool thing to watch, to listen to, and if you wanted to dance to it, you get a little thing. But also they had like fun little interjections where they're like, blah, 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 blah. You know, you had the Star Wars voice, not Star Wars. He had a Star Wars like voice. I found out. I didn't realize that they didn't actually have like licensed shit, and I think we talked about that last time. Like I went back and
Yeah.
actually, I got a sticker here, and actually looked at it. And I was like, holy shit, yeah, none of them are actually. So like, really, they are just really skirting the line, and they're dancing on a line, man. They're fucking around with Disney, but that's a great show. Whether you're on your first beer or you're on your sixth beer, it's just a good show. But then you can actually look into like the effort that they put into it, and you can enjoy it for much more as a stage show as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you don't have to get fucked up, but you can if you want.
Sorry, I'm on Galactic Empire's website. I actually didn't realize how fucking
It's very
how
close.
how clever they skirt the line though. That's like
Yeah.
impressive.
Very impressive. And that's the thing is like it is, and it's a fucking great show. Like, so if they're able to legally do that, then yeah, dude, they should be the biggest band in the world because
Well, no, we talked about it last time. Legally, they are locked in because you are legally allowed. If you're covering it, you're legally allowed to do your damn thing. And then if everything is different enough, because I imagine Star Wars, like Disney doesn't own the term Galactic Empire. I mean, if they did, they wouldn't. That probably wouldn't be their name.
yeah.
And then yeah, it's not illegal to have a bunch of Star Wars inspired shit.
Yeah. So it's really cool that they again they like you said they can skirt that they're that smart with it that they can put on a great show and also not have to worry about people having to get fucked up so they can have kids there too.
This T-shirt rules. I just like how I was looking through all their T-shirts, and I just like how there's one dude who just rocks a cowboy hat the whole time.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, he's got a little like he's a little space cowboy.
Well, I like this because this guy has a Doctor Doom feeling, but he's doing the Darth Vader hand. This is the only one that I feel like would get him in trouble because this one down here is close.
Very close, but also like close enough to where like he also kind of looks like just a like it's kind of a take on a knight. You know what I mean? It's like a knight's helmet. But that's it's there. But that's what I'm saying is like it has to be like you said enjoyable on multiple. Like you have to be able to be accessible and enjoyable for somebody just to listen to you or watch your media, and then you can actually go into it and be like, wow, they actually did this much effort. But I also don't feel like you should have to have it explained to you. But I love that perspective of people like this is what the director meant. Like, well, I didn't get that at all.
Well, yeah, no, and that goes back to my point earlier. I think there should be. It's like that. Whenever you see a diagram where they use like an iceberg, it's like the base level should have one way to enjoy it, and then if you want to go deeper, there should be another way to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Can I just make a comment? I just thought about this. All right. Have a great weekend.
Anyway, see you guys.
Anyway, bye.
Bye.
No, looking up this Galactic Empire merch, it reminded me of a grievance I had with record labels' websites. So, like record labels, they'll have, Pure Noise has been out for a while, and they've done, and away with some of these like smaller record labels, they'll do a lot of like one-offs here or there, or they'll do merch for these bands or something like that. So they end up getting, while they don't necessarily have a shit ton of active bands, they, like with doing the merch and stuff like that, they'll get a lot of bands in the mix. And I noticed a lot of times on the webs, you'll go to these websites, and right here, it says artists. And it's just like, dude, that's so fucking many.
Oh,
and
man.
It's just like,
they don't have pictures next to them or anything. Like, that's weird to like just look at a list of names. Like, there you go. Yeah.
There's pictures here. But but I was thinking about this, and it's like, I don't feel like all of these bands are your active main bands. And it's like they should do it how if you go on WWE's website, they'll have their active roster and then they'll have like their legends and shit
Right.
like
Have
that.
more bands, have like things that you have worked on in the past, like releases from the past. Yeah, I totally get that. Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like record labels should organize that shit a lot better, but that's just a side complaint. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else you wanted to talk about?
Did you want to talk about that Sublime thing?
No, what was that? Can I piss real quick?
No, actually, I'd prefer you don't.
All right.
Okay. See, I don't know why you asked. Go for it, buddy. It's your show too. No, there was a clip that I sent Andy, and it's pretty interesting that I'm seeing this a lot more with bands nowadays. I don't know if anybody saw, because we talked about in the past about like Operation Ivy, like all the members are alive. Why wouldn't you rejoin each other? Like why wouldn't you have these reunions, or why wouldn't, not just for the beneficial, like not just the monetary gain, but the fact for like your fans, like somebody that's been as loyal to a band like Operation Ivy, or I'm trying to think of another example that we've talked about in the past, but like bands that you're like, there's no Oasis would be another one. Like as far as more popular bands would be a good example of bands that like the members are still around, like not just for the monetary gain, but also just the fact that like, can't you just put, maybe if there are differences, can't you put them aside, or whatever it is, just make it happen. But there is a weird thing. What about bands that are still playing that have lost members? So we talked about Andy and I sent him a clip of, I believe it is, I think his name is also Bradley, but it's Bradley Knowles' son fronting Sublime. And it is, I don't know if we'll actually play the clip or not, but it is original Sublime lineup with Bradley Knowles' son Jacob Knoll, that's his name. So Andy, the way I started talking about this was the
Dude, it
fact that
was so funny. Steph was so excited to fucking start laundry. She like barged in. I was like, "Oh, we're not done." She's like, "Fuck."
Yeah, we still have to talk about Sublime. No, there is a the way I talked about it was like, we've brought up in the past like why bands would be so selfish to have all of their original members around, but not actually doing a reunion tour, not just for monetary gain, but for the fans. But then I brought up the fact about it. What about bands that are still touring that have members that have passed away, like Wu-Tang Clan or Sublime? So I watched. I don't know if you watched the clip I sent you or not, but there was it's Bradley Knowles' son from Bradley Knoll from Sublime, the guy who did heroin until he died. He his son,
That's how it
who
works half the time.
like, okay, so this is the only part that does kind of bother me about this stuff. It's weird how much they're trying to be like their father. So I've recently watched Johnny Cash's grandson, or yeah, Johnny Cash's grandson doing a cover of Folsom City Blues. And they're like, it's incredible how much Johnny Cash's grandson sounds exactly like him. And he's like really fat and he's got a big beard and shit like that, but he looks a lot like Johnny Cash. And then Bradley Knowles' son sitting there playing with his fucking
Can I
shirt
say
off.
something real quick?
Please go ahead.
It's not crazy that he sounds like Johnny Cash. He's literally got his DNA in him.
But it's weird how much he's trying to like, it's
Specifically sound like Johnny Cash.
yeah, he seems like he's putting extra Johnny Cash on it. Again, he's not. So I've listened to
You got, sir. I'm gonna need to send this back. You put too much Johnny Cash on it.
yeah, I asked for light Johnny Cash and you gave me I don't understand even how that works. It's on the receipt.
It's I don't know, dude. It was
How
you
much
had it
Johnny
on the
Cash do
menu.
you normally put on this? I mean, like, this is crazy. If this is light, I speak to your manager. No, it's what's his face? Damn, I can't remember his name, but it's Willie Nelson's son. I think his name's also Jacob or something like that. I can't remember what but his band is actually pretty it's God damn it, I can't remember his fucking son's name. Willie Nelson's son sounds a lot like him, but it doesn't sound like he's doing a Willie Nelson impression. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So like Johnny Cash's grandson is doing a Folsom City Blues. Jacob Noel is, by the way, if he is, does he have to play guitar because Bradley Noel was an excellent guitar player too. Is he as good of as him and guitar as well? Like in the clip that I sent you, it's him playing guitar and leading Sublime, the other two original members, and it seems like he's doing an impression of his dad. Like it's weird. And I also brought it up with Wu-Tang Clan performing live recently and having Young Dirty Bastard, apparently his name is, which is really funny. ODB's one of many of ODB's sons looks a lot like a young ODB and sounds a lot like him as well. So like it's really interesting that that all of these artists' children are taking like not just going into music, but almost like taking their spot in the original lineup of their band. That's
Yeah.
kind of it's really strange. That's the thing that's I guess the most interesting thing to me.
I wouldn't say it's strange. It actually makes a lot more sense than I think you. I think it makes a lot of sense actually, because like I'm thinking from what's Bradley Noel's kid's name?
Sorry, Lucas Nelson is the guy I was trying to think of. Jacob Noel is his name.
But
Shut up! I already knew it. I knew I didn't answer the right question. I was doing my own.
Thank God we got Willie Nelson's grandson's name.
Lucas Nelson and the Sound of Something Real is a great fucking band. I suggest you check them out. But anyway,
I will.
But shit, sorry,
I forgot his name though.
Hold on, it's Lucas Nelson.
But within the case of Bradley Noel's kid,
yeah.
I got to imagine it's like, I'm pretty sure he died before his kid was like forming too many core memories, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So it's probably something weird growing up with like. It's got to be weird as hell growing up with a famous dad who you've never met, but all these other people have these like intense memories associated with him. Mm-hmm. And so that probably creates like an identity crisis. I know you see it with You see it with a lot of kids like we could talk about famous kids, but you see it in real life. A lot of kids in general follow the footsteps of their dad, like and shit like that. Like fuck, I'm starting to read comics. That was a big thing. My dad, you're gonna die young.
I'm already gay and I got AIDS. But I haven't told my wife yet. Gotta wait till we have 3 kids.
But no, it's like a lot of kids fall in the footsteps of their parents because like you grow up and like whether they're good or bad or perfect or imperfect, most kids look at their parents like you're the fucking man, dude. You know, and so it's got to be weird as fuck growing up with you never really met your dad, but he is famous and all these people have these memories with it.
Yeah,
and then it's like. So now your hero is the guy who plays the guitar. So now you want to play the guitar, and your dad's band happens to still be around, and they were probably like, "Do you want to play guitar in the band?" That's probably like the biggest honor for him. You know what I mean?
That's a really good point too, because if you are somebody who is famous that has a child and then you die young, all they can do is not necessarily take after your, like you said, you're dying. They're dying probably when they're super young or can't even remember anything about them. So there's no real traits they can pick up by them except for what they know from society, from like their entertainment, legacy. So that is all of the traits that he's trying to pick up to follow in his footsteps, because there was no like life lessons passed down, like stuff like that. And so also, he has that same, I think you're right though. Like they're identifying with, especially Johnny Cash's fucking grandson. He's just like, I'm gonna do I can do a sick ass Johnny Cash impression. So I'm gonna sit here and go, well, here I'm trying to come in, and they're like, that's his like cum. Yeah. That's his cum, dude. It's fucking crazy. That's his fucking cum. That's it. It's really what it is. You're like, oh my god, that's Bradley Noel's cum. You see that? It sounds so much like Bradley Noel.
Your cum sounds just like his cum sounds just like him.
Yeah, like if you listen to my comment, it'd be like,
yeah, and even in like the least charitable. Now I'm not gonna put this on Johnny Cash's son or grandson, whoever it was. In the least charitable interpretation of this, you could look at that and just been like, he's probably like, I can play guitar, I sound like Johnny Cash, I can make mad money going out being like Johnny Cash's grandson playing Johnny Cash.
Yeah. Like, do you
I'm
want to
sure
hear?
it's not that specifically, but that's just like the least charitable version of this.
But you get, I guarantee the flyers say Cash. You know what I'm saying? Like they say Cash, and they have a picture of him. And they're like, wait a minute, what is
What's his
that?
name?
Is that
I
him?
guarantee you the flyers say grandson of Johnny Cash. What's
I
his
think it's
name?
I think it's Donnie Cash.
Donnie?
No,
Oh,
I can't do that to you.
dude. I
So
deleted it. I 100% typed out Donnie in Google after you said that.
yeah, I think it's Donnie or Yanni Cash. I think it's Yanni.
Thomas Gabriel.
Thomas Gabriel Cash. So he's Tack. No, Tegek. Nope, that doesn't work. You got to go with Cash. Gabriel Cash is pretty fucking. That goes hard.
Gabriel Cash.
Yeah, instead of
No,
Tommy Cash.
he's just John. He's just Thomas Gabriel.
Oh, so he doesn't even use Cash at all.
No, I wonder what his real.
What a
That's his real.
douchebag! Come on, man.
Well, no, think about it. Johnny
No.
Cash. That's your problem.
No,
You don't.
I will not.
You don't fucking think, Pat.
You're
No.
asking me to consider something? Fuck off, dude. This is America, man.
Yeah, but think about it. Johnny Cash probably had a girl, and then that girl got married to someone with the last name Gabriel, and then had a kid. Yeah, you see how that fucking works, Pat? Why is he using the name Cash?
But I'm saying like his performing, like you're gonna go out as that's your stage name. Tommy Cash.
Gotta be your own man, dude.
He's
Donnie
not though.
Cash.
He's doing Folsom City Blues. Like what the fuck? You can't like it's one of those things of like.
Does he just play that the whole show? He plays Folsom City Blues the whole show, Pat.
He does it really slow.
You sound real stupid.
He goes. That's what he does. So like it takes the whole set.
He probably plays his own song and then covers Folsom City Blues so people give a shit about him.
I call this one Folsom City is chopped and screwed.
What if Johnny Cash and
he looks pretty fat though. He's a pretty fat guy though.
whereas he's not that fat.
Jacob Knoll looks like a young Bradley Knoll, and that's what I'm saying. He's like, it looks like he's cosplaying his dad, whereas like in like a young Dirty Bastard, kind of same idea. But again, he just looks like him, and he's dressing like a hip hop guy. It's not like he's wearing the same clothes. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He's not wearing his like uniform or anything.
I'm looking up Jacob Knoll.
Yeah, Jacob Knoll. He's wearing like like cargo shorts, no shirt. Boxers pulled up. Like he's like regular, like a teenager in our childhood, like like back when we were kids, like how people that dressed that were comfortable enough to not wear a shirt in public would, like him. By the way, a lot of times that I saw of clips of Sublime live, it looked like they kind of sucked, like live, like as far as like him getting, like performance wise, but I do attribute that to the recording. So,
the heroin, you mean? It's probably the heroin.
Tripping over his fucking dog was just laying on stage. Like, what a weirdo, man.
Well, no, the thing about, correct me if I'm wrong, but the thing about Sublime is like he actually died right when they were starting to blow up.
Yeah.
So they were still kind of new, and he's on heroin. So like they were probably not the greatest band live.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah. Lots of heroin in there. So I don't know if his son's following in the footsteps or anything like that, but let's stay away from the track marks, fellas, and let's keep up the good work because he does sound a lot like him.
Fuck yeah, dude. All right.
Hell yeah.
We fucking did it.
I did it. I did a lot of it, and I'm really happy that I did it, but I think you did most. I mean, yeah, it's about 50-50. We did all right.
Oh, dude, we done did it to the best of our done doing it. So
Yeah.
Let's fucking get out of here. Guys, gals, everyone in between, thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah.
We will see you back here next Sunday. Sorry for the lack of the new music streams, but bro,
We're busy
we're
boys.
we're busy bitches. That's what happens. Go check out new music. Yeah. Thanks for hanging out. We love you all. Have a good one. Be about it. Peace.